Bangladesh Bridges Authority repays 315 crore taka more as fifth and sixth installments of Podda Bridge loan. President Mohammad Shahabuddin calls on all concerned, including judges, to make constant efforts to ensure justice for litigants speedily. Symbols allocated among candidates of the 12th national elections, triggering election campaign formally, which will continue till 8 a.m. on January the 5th. Those who remain silent about arson violence but vocal on polls are agents of BNP and implementing its political agenda, says Obaidul Qadir. Dr. Hassan Mahmood starts election campaigning by crossing Karnopuli River on dinghy boat and riding bicycle. Bangladesh observes a one-day state mourning over death of Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmed al-Jaber al-Sabah. More than 200 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza Strip as talks for ceasefire continues. And Bashundhara Kings secure Independence Cup title with a 2-1 win over Mohammedan Sporting Club. Assalamu alaikum. This is News at 10 on BTV and BTV World. I'm Mahmoud Rahman. Those were the headlines. Let's move on to details of those and other stories.
দুনিয়ার ইতিহাসে এত রক্ত স্বাধীনতার জন্য কোনো দেশ দেয় নাই যা বাংলার মানুষ দিয়েছে। শুধু তাই নয়, তারা এমনভাবে পঙ্গতা শুরু করলো, যা কিছু ছিল ধ্বংস করতে আরম্ভ করলো। আমার 1 কোটি লোক ভারতবর্ষে আশ্রয় নিল। আমরা নিশ্চয়ই কৃতজ্ঞতা জ্ঞাপন করব।
Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina received over 315 crore taka of the fifth and sixth installments of loan taken for the construction of the Podda Bridge. Prime Minister's Press Secretary Ehsanul Karim said Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir handed over a cheque of over 315 crore taka to the Premier as fifth and sixth installments of loan for Podda Bridge. With the fifth and sixth installments, the Bridges Division has so far paid a total of over 948 crore taka to the government through 6 installments. On April the 5th, the Bridges Division began the repayment of the loan with over 316 crore 90 lakh taka from the revenue it earned as toll collection from the bridge as the first and second installments. The Podda Bridge was built with own finance at a cost of over 32,605 crore taka. On June the 19th this year, the Bridges Division paid over 316 crore as the third and fourth installments. The loan was taken from Bangladesh Bank at a low interest rate under an agreement signed between the Finance Division and the Bangladesh Bridges Authority. On the 25th of June 2022, the Prime Minister opened the country's largest bridge, 6.15-kilometre Podda Bridge over the mighty Podda Bridge. Ambassador-at-Large M. Ziauddin, Prime Minister's Principal Secretary Mohammad Tafazzal Hussain Mia, Finance Division Secretary Dr. Mohammad Khairuzzaman Mojumdar, Bridges Division Secretary M. Monjur Hussain, and high officials of the Prime Minister's Office, Bridges and Finance Divisions were present at the cheque handover function. Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina has said Bangladesh and Kosovo can increase bilateral trade for mutual benefits. The Prime Minister said this when Kosovo Ambassador to Bangladesh, Guna Urea, paid the farewell call on her at Ganabhavan in Dhaka today. She said there are a lot of opportunities to increase the volume of bilateral trade, and Kosovo can be greatly benefited by importing top-quality ready-made garments and pharmaceutical products from Bangladesh at an affordable price. Prime Minister's Press Secretary Ehsanul Karim briefed newsmen after the meeting. The Prime Minister appreciated the role of the Kosovo envoy for improving the bilateral relations between the two countries during his tenure as first ambassador of his country. The Kosovo envoy highly praised the unprecedented development of Bangladesh under the dynamic leadership of Sheikh Hasina during the last 15 years. Bangladesh will be a big economy on the global stage in future, he said. The envoy also thanked the Prime Minister's office and Foreign Office for helping him complete his tenure in Bangladesh successfully. Ambassador-at-Large M. Ziauddin and Prime Minister's Principal Secretary Mohammad Tafazzul Hussain Mia were present. President Mohammad Shahabuddin has urged judges and all concerned to make constant efforts to ensure justice for the litigants speedily. The President made the call while addressing a discussion at the Supreme Court's inner court on the occasion of Bangladesh Supreme Court Day this afternoon. Lauding the role of the Supreme Court as the guardian and protector of the Constitution, in addition to protecting human rights and ensuring justice since its inception, the President said the Supreme Court has always played a strong role in cancelling any law that contradicts with the Constitution. President Mohammad Shahabuddin said after the killing of Father of the Nation, the anti-independence forces imposed military rule in the country and tried to destroy democracy forever by violating the Constitution in many ways. Terming the Supreme Court's lawyers as an essential part of the judiciary, the President said coordination as well as cooperation between bench and bar is very important in the judicial system.
সুপ্রিম কোর্ট সংবিধানের পঞ্চম ও সপ্তম সংশোধনীকে অবৈধ ঘোষণা করে দেশের মানুষের গণতান্ত্রিক অধিকার প্রতিষ্ঠা করেছে। সুপ্রিম কোর্ট হচ্ছে সাধারণ মানুষের শেষ আশ্রয়, যেখানে তারা ন্যায় বিচার ও অধিকার রক্ষার জন্য মুখোমুখি হন। বঙ্গবন্ধু আমৃত্যু মানুষের অধিকার প্রতিষ্ঠার পাশাপাশি ধর্ম, বর্ণ, ধনী, দরিদ্র নির্বিশেষে কেউ যাতে ন্যায় বিচার প্রাপ্তি থেকে বঞ্চিত না হয় এ লক্ষ্যে কাজ করে গেছেন। তারই সুযোগ্য কন্যা মাননীয় প্রধানমন্ত্রী শেখ হাসিনাও দেশের বিচার ব্যবস্থার উন্নয়নে অবকাঠামো সহ বিভিন্ন উন্নয়ন কর্মসূচি বাস্তবায়নকে অগ্রাধিকার দিচ্ছেন। বিচারিক কর্মকাণ্ডে তথ্য প্রযুক্তির ব্যবহার মামলা নিষ্পত্তিতে যুগান্তকারী পরিবর্তন এনেছে। আমি আশা করব এখন থেকে জাস্টিস ডিলেড, জাস্টিস ডিনাইড প্রবাদকে আমাদের বিচার বিভাগে উদাহরণ হিসাবে আর ব্যবহৃত হবে না। বিচার প্রার্থীরা যাতে দ্রুত ন্যায় বিচার পায় সে লক্ষ্যে আপনারা সর্বাত্মক প্রচেষ্টা অব্যাহত রাখবেন। এছাড়া মামলা নিষ্পত্তির পর রায়ের কপির জন্য যাতে বিচারালয়ের বারান্দায় ঘুরতে না হয় সে ব্যাপারে আপনারা একটু যত্নবান হবেন। এবারের সুপ্রিম কোর্ট দিবসে এটাই আমার প্রত্যাশা।
The function was also addressed by Chief Justice Obaidul Hassan, Law, Justice and Parliamentary Affairs Minister Anisul Haq, Chief of Supreme Court Judges Committee on celebration of the Dhaka of the day, Justice M. Enayatul Rahim, Attorney General Abu Muhammad Aminuddin, and President of Supreme Court Lawyers Association Mohammad Mumtazuddin Fakir. President Mohammad Shahabuddin unveiled the cover of a commemorative book published on the occasion of Supreme Court Day celebration. The Election Commission allocated symbols among the candidates of the 12th parliamentary elections today. Officers of the returning officers across the country kicked off the symbol distribution program in the morning at a time. Dhaka Divisional Returning Officer allocated the symbols to the candidates of 15 of the 20 constituencies under Dhaka at his office at Segunbagisha in the capital this morning. The candidates of other 5 constituencies were given the symbols from the Dhaka District Deputy Commissioner's office. Symbols were also allocated among candidates across the country today. Awami League President Sheikh Hasina was allocated symbol of boat for Gopalganj 3 constituency for the upcoming 12th National Parliament. Later, the symbol was handed over to her chief election agent and deputy development representative for the constituency, Shahidullah Khondokar. Sheikh Hasina had been elected 7 times from Gopalganj 3 constituency with the symbol of boat. 6 candidates, including Sheikh Hasina, have been contesting for the constituency in upcoming polls. Symbols were allocated to 33 candidates of 6 constituencies in Noakhali for the 12th National Parliament election. On behalf of Awami League General Secretary Obaidul Qadir, leaders and activists of the party received the boat symbol for Noakhali 5 constituency. Deputy Commissioner and District Returning Officer Dewan Mahbubur Rahman allocated symbols among 33 candidates at his office this morning. Symbols were distributed among candidates of 16 constituencies at Returning Officer's office in Chattogram. The Returning Officer allocated symbols among individual candidates through lottery, where more than one candidate chose the same symbol. On behalf of Information and Broadcasting Minister and Awami League Joint General Secretary Dr. Hassan Mahmood for Chattogram 7 constituency, Advocate Didarul Alam received the symbol of boat from District Returning Officer Abul Bashar Mohammad Fakhruzaman today. Ballot papers of the 12th National Parliament elections will be sent to the polling stations on the polling day. Chief Election Commissioner Qazi Habibul Awal said this to the reporters at Agargaon Election Bhavan in the capital today. Earlier, Japanese Ambassador to Bangladesh, Iwama Kiminori, met with the Chief Election Commissioner at the Election Bhavan. After the meeting, the Chief Election Commissioner said that Japan is giving great importance to Bangladesh's parliamentary elections. For this reason, the country will send an observation team to the 12th National Parliament elections.
ব্যালট পেপার যতদূর সম্ভব সেদিনই সকালে ভোট গ্রহণ শুরু হওয়ার আগেই পাঠানো হবে। কিছু কিছু এলাকায় হয়তো সম্ভব হবে না, খুব দূরবর্তী হাওর বাওর যেখানে আছে বা যেখানে জলপথে যেতে হয়, দ্বীপাঞ্চল ইত্যাদি কুয়াশা থাকতে পারে। তো এগুলো চিন্তা ভাবনা করে আজকে একটা পরিপত্র ইস্যু আমরা করেছি। এই বিষয়ে রিটার্নিং অফিসাররা আমাদের কাছে সুস্পষ্ট প্রস্তাব পাঠাবেন, প্রস্তাব পাঠিয়ে আমাদের অনুমোদন গ্রহণ করবেন রিমোট জায়গাগুলো, সেটা আমরা দেখে বিচার বিবেচনা করে আমরা তাদের প্রস্তাব যদি সঙ্গত হয় সেটা আমরা অনুমোদন করে দেব। পোলিং এজেন্ট থাকতেই হবে, পোলিং এজেন্টদেরকে দেখে নিয়ে স্বাক্ষর করতে হবে যে ব্যালট বক্সগুলো খালি ছিল এবং ব্যালট পেপারগুলো সেদিন গেছে।
We want to know about the detailed, minute arrangements by the Election Commissioner together with other relevant agencies and ministries. In total, we have registered 16 people, but not the 16 from Japan, but 3 people from Japan and other supporting staff was registered, our embassy staff.
Awami League General Secretary and Road Transport and Bridges Minister Obaidul Qadir criticised the joint statement of 40 intellectuals over the 12th parliamentary election. He said those who remained silent about arson violence but vocal on the polls are brokers of BNP and implementing its political agenda. Obaidul Qadir was speaking at a press briefing at Awami League President's political office at Dhanmondi in the capital today.
আসলে বুদ্ধিজীবীরা বিএনপির রাজনৈতিক এজেন্ডা বাস্তবায়নে ব্যস্ত। তাদের উচিত ছিল নির্বাচনে অংশ নিচ্ছে না বলে বিএনপিকে তিরস্কার করা। 40 জন নাগরিককে বলবো, আপনারা জ্বালাও পোড়াও বন্ধের আহ্বান কেন জানাতে অপারগ? যে বুদ্ধিজীবীরা আজকে জ্বালাও পোড়াও হরতাল অবরোধ সাপোর্ট করছেন, তারা আসলে বিএনপি দ্বারা 27টা দল অংশ নিচ্ছে, তবুও বলছেন একতরফা নির্বাচন। আসলে বিএনপির জন্য তাদের মন কাঁপে, যাদের দেশ ও জনগণের প্রতি কোনো দায়বদ্ধতা নেই, তারাই দেশের ভবিষ্যৎ নিয়ে ভাবে না।
Regarding the Agriculture Minister's narratives on the arrest of BNP leaders, the Awami League General Secretary said the Agriculture Minister gave his personal opinions.
তিনি যে বক্তব্য দিয়েছেন সেটা তার ব্যক্তিগত মত। আওয়ামী লীগ কোনো দেউলিয়া দল নয়। আওয়ামী লীগ দলীয় নিয়ম নীতি ভঙ্গ করে গণতন্ত্রের প্রতি আওয়ামী লীগের যে কমিটমেন্ট সেটা বিনষ্ট করে এ ধরনের উদ্ভট প্রস্তাব বিএনপি যা কাউকে দেবে এটা কখনো সঠিক হতে পারে না। এ ধরনের কোনো প্রস্তাব আমাদের সরকারও দেয়নি, আমাদের দলও দেয়। সর্বশেষ তথ্য অনুযায়ী 27টি দল নির্বাচনে অংশ নিচ্ছে। এ পর্যন্ত 1886 জন নির্বাচনে অংশ নিচ্ছে, স্বতন্ত্র আছে 357 জন। আশা করি একটা প্রতিদ্বন্দ্বিতা পূর্ণ নির্বাচন হবে। আমি মঈন খানকে বলবো 7ই জানুয়ারি সারা বাংলাদেশের দিকে একটু নজর রাখবেন, ভোট কেন্দ্রগুলোর দিকে একটু তাকাবেন, তাহলে বুঝতে পারবেন এদেশের মানুষ কতটা নির্বাচনের পক্ষে।
Awami League Organising Secretaries B.M. Mozammel Haq, Mirza Azam and Shojit Roy Nundi, Office Secretary Barrister Biplab Borua, among the central leaders, were present at the press briefing. Information and Broadcasting Minister and Awami League Joint General Secretary Dr. Hassan Mahmood said those who hatched conspiracy against election have fused like balloons. Now BNP cannot be revived even after receiving strong vitamin tablets, he added. Dr. Hassan Mahmood made the comments while addressing a rally at Moriamnagar, Choumuhuni under his constituency Rangunia in Chattogram today.
অনেক প্রতিকূলতার মধ্য দিয়ে দেশে নির্বাচন অনুষ্ঠিত হতে যাচ্ছে। এই নির্বাচন যাতে অনুষ্ঠিত না হয় সেজন্য অনেক ষড়যন্ত্র করা হয়েছিল। বিএনপি জামাত মনে করেছিল যে আমরা নির্বাচন করতে পারবো না। এখন তারা বুঝতে পেরেছে সমস্ত প্রতিকূলতাকে উপড়ে ফেলে দেশে একটি অংশগ্রহণমূলক জনগণের ব্যাপক উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনায় নির্বাচন অনুষ্ঠিত হতে যাচ্ছে। এই নির্বাচন আজকে যে ব্যাপক উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনা তৈরি হয়েছে, এজন্য এই নির্বাচনের বিরুদ্ধে যে দেশি বিদেশি যে ষড়যন্ত্র ছিল, সেই ষড়যন্ত্রকারীরাও বেলুনের মতো চুপসে গেছে। বেলুনের মতো নির্বাচনের বিরুদ্ধে যারা ষড়যন্ত্র করেছিল, বেলুনের মতো ঠুস করে চুপসে গেছে, ঠিক কিনা? এখন ভিটামিন ট্যাবলেট দিয়েও বিএনপিকে দাঁড় করানো যাচ্ছে না। স্ট্রং ভিটামিন ট্যাবলেট দিয়েও বিএনপিকে দাঁড় করানো যাচ্ছে না, ঠিক কিনা? সুতরাং নির্বাচন 7 জানুয়ারি ইনশাআল্লাহ অনুষ্ঠিত হবে, ব্যাপক উৎসাহ উদ্দীপনার মধ্য দিয়ে অনুষ্ঠিত হবে ইনশাআল্লাহ, এবং হাজার হাজার লক্ষ লক্ষ মানুষ বাংলাদেশে ভোট দিবে, রাঙ্গুনিয়ায় ভোট দিবে, ঠিক কিনা? সবাই আমরা ভোট কেন্দ্রে গিয়ে ভোট দিব। কোন মার্কায় ভোট দিব? বলো জোরে। মার্কা কি? শেখ হাসিনার, বঙ্গবন্ধুর, উন্নয়নের, জয় বাংলার। যারা ষড়যন্ত্র করেছিল তারা এখন গর্তের মধ্যে ঢুকেছে। ওই বিএনপির রিজভি আহমেদ না, ওই গর্তের ভিতর থেকে থেকে যখন আপনার ইঁদুরকে দৌড়ানো হয়, ইঁদুর কোথায় ঢুকে? গর্তের মধ্যে ঢুকে। ওদেরকে কেউ দৌড়ায় নাই, ওদেরকে জনগণ দৌড় দিয়েছে, জনগণ ওদেরকে ধাওয়া করেছে, এরপরে গর্তের মধ্যে ঢুকেছে। গর্ত থেকে ইঁদুর, কিন্তু যারা ইঁদুর ধরেছো আর যারা ইঁদুরের সাথে ইঁদুরকে ধাওয়া করেছো তারা জানেন, তারা জানো যে ইঁদুর গর্তের ভিতর থেকে এইভাবে চোখ মেলে মেলে তাকায়। এখন রিজভি আহমেদও গর্তের ভিতর থেকে এইভাবে তাকিয়ে তাকিয়ে কর্মসূচি ঘোষণা করে। কর্মসূচি কি? গাড়ি ঘোড়া পোড়ানো। গাড়ি ঘোড়া পোড়ানো কোন রাজনৈতিক দলের কর্মসূচি হতে পারে? যারা গাড়ি ঘোড়া পোড়ায় তাদেরকে আমরা বর্জন করি, ঠিক কিনা? তাদেরকে জনগণ বর্জন করেছে।
Earlier, Information and Broadcasting Minister Dr. Hassan Mahmood inaugurated his election campaigning for the 12th National Parliament election by riding on a bicycle from in front of Rangunia Upazila Awami League office. People from all walks of life participated in the election rally. Earlier, Information and Broadcasting Minister offered ziyarat at Hazrat Shah Sufi Sayyid Baghdadi Habibullah Bahadur Mazar at Pomra in Rangunia. Later, he went to his ancestral home at Shuk Bilash village of Podua, by crossing Kornufuli River on a dinghy boat and offered ziyarat at his parents' graves. Local Awami League leaders were among others present there. Bangladesh observed a one-day state mourning today at the death of its real friend, Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmed al-Jazeera Sabah. The national flag was kept at half-mast at all government, semi-government and autonomous institutions, including educational institutions and Bangladesh missions abroad, in observance of the state of mourning. Special prayers were offered at all mosques and other religious institutions, seeking eternal peace of the departed soul. Kuwait's Emir passed away at the age of 86 last Saturday. Sheikh Nawaf became Emir in 2020 following the death of his brother Sheikh Sabah. Sheikh Nawaf had big contribution to the well-being of Bangladeshi expatriates in Kuwait. His contribution to develop bilateral relations between Bangladesh and Kuwait. International news. Hamas health officials say at least 200 Palestinians have been killed in Israeli airstrikes across Gaza. Of them, 110 were killed in Jabalia in northern Gaza. There's been no specific comment from Israel, which insists it is targeting what it calls terrorist infrastructure. Jabalia, part of which is a long-standing refugee camp, is in the north of Gaza, an area where since the early days of the war, Israel has warned people to leave. U.S. Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin has just arrived in Israel and discussed with the Israeli leadership the ongoing military operation in Gaza. The visit comes amid mounting pressure on the U.S. about how Israel is conducting the war, as the intensity of its bombing campaign in Gaza, which has already killed more than 18,000 people, shows no sign of abating. At the UN Security Council, the U.S. is said to be seeking to tone down the words of a new draft resolution calling for a cessation of hostilities. The UK, France and Germany step up global calls for a ceasefire. Meanwhile, UN aid has entered Gaza directly from Israel for the first time, as aid trucks from Egypt are stripped by desperate crowds. The UN Palestinian Refugee Agency says hungry people are helping themselves to food, making it almost impossible to distribute aid. North Korea has fired a suspected intercontinental ballistic missile, its second missile launch in hours. It comes after South Korean and U.S. defense officials met last week to update plans on how to respond to a nuclear attack from the north. In response, Pyongyang on Sunday said it would take more offensive countermeasures. North Korea launched a short-range missile on Sunday night and the longer-range weapon on Monday morning. South Korean and Japanese officials said they detected the launch of the missile from the Pyongyang area. The missile traveled for 73 minutes, covering about 1,000 kilometers before landing in the sea west of Hokkaido. Russia says Ukrainian forces lost up to 100 servicemen on the southern Donetsk region in the past 24 hours. Battle Group East spokesman Alexander Gordiev said during the counter-battery combat, Battle Group crews destroyed an ANTPQ-50 counter-battery radar station in Ugledar, a D-20 howitzer in Zelenoye Pole, 2 mortar crews in Staromayorskoye. In addition, the enemy lost 3 automobile vehicles, 9 long-term firing points, and up to 100 militants as killed or injured, Gordiev said. Russian President Vladimir Putin has warned there will be problems with neighboring Finland after it joined the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, NATO, earlier this year. Finland's ascension to NATO marked a major shift in the security landscape in Northern Europe and added some 1,300 kilometers to the alliance's frontier with Russia. It was also a blow for President Putin, who has long warned against NATO expansion. Finland became the 31st member of NATO when it joined in April, doubling the security alliance's direct frontier with Russia. A car crashed into a vehicle attached to Joe Biden's motorcade on Sunday, with a security scare startling the U.S. president as he left his campaign headquarters in Delaware. Reports say a loud bang was heard, caused by a sedan slamming into an SUV positioned in a nearby intersection about 40 meters from Biden. Security personnel then rushed the president into a waiting vehicle, and he was whisked away from the building in downtown Wilmington. Both the president and the First Lady are fine, a White House official told reporters who witnessed the incident. Further questions were referred to the U.S. Secret Service. Biden arrived safely at his family home without further incident. Police are looking at whether impairment was a factor in the accident. The American company Blue Origin plans to launch its rocket Big Shepherd later today for the first time since an accident more than a year ago, as the firm, founded by billionaire Jeff Bezos, heads back into space. The launch window from the pad in West Texas opens at 8:30 a.m. launch local time, said Blue Origin, which plans to live stream the event. The mission, known as NS-24, will not carry a crew, but rather equipment for scientific experiments, more than half of which Blue Origin has developed in conjunction with NASA. In the accident in September 2022, the rocket booster stage crashed to the ground, although the capsule part of the spacecraft came down safely with parachutes. There was no crew aboard. The accident prompted a probe by the Federal Aviation Administration, FAA, which concluded in September 2023 with the finding that the accident was caused by a higher than planned temperature of the rocket's engine. Now some other international news in brief. Iraqis are headed to the polls to elect provincial councils for the first time in 10 years, with thousands vying for seats in the powerful assemblies. Monday's vote is seen as a key test for the government of Prime Minister Mohammed Shia al-Sudani ahead of national elections next year. Thousands of displaced people have fled the formerly safe city of Wad Madani in Sudan, as the war between the army and the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, RSF, reaches the city.
Previously untouched, the city of Wad Madani is no longer.
Flash floods in North Queensland, worst in Australia, have led to an entire town being evacuated and people trapped on a hospital roof.
Orange enemy threatens Paranella was far from finished.
A man went missing and thousands of people in the Philippines were sheltering in evacuation centers today as tropical storm Jelawat hit the large southern island of Mindanao, causing scattered flooding and power cuts.
Along the Great Barrier Reef, flash floods forced evacuations with some
Pro-democracy media tycoon Jimmy Lai is facing a Hong Kong court in a long-awaited trial over charges that he colluded with foreign forces. His case has caused international uproar and is widely seen as a test of Hong Kong's judicial independence.
International sanctions against Hong Kong and the Central still has not been revealed, but Hong Kong Security Minister Chris Tang.
Now weather. The Met Office, in its weather forecast till 6 p.m. tomorrow, said weather may remain dry with temporary partly cloudy sky over the country. Moderate to dense fog may occur over the river basins, and light to moderate fog may occur elsewhere over the country during midnight to morning. Night and day temperature may remain nearly unchanged over the country, said the Met Office. On now to news on sports. Boshundhara Kings clinched the Independence Cup title, beating Mohammedan Sporting Club by 2-1 in the final today. This is the third time the Kings have won the tournament's title, which is the joint record for the most title winners. Mohammedans are also a three-time champion of the Independence Cup. The first half of the final match ended goalless at Sheikh Fazlul Haq Moni Stadium in Gopalganj. The Kings were reduced to 10 men at the beginning of the second half. Mohammedans took the lead through Emmanuel Sunday's goal in the 50th minute. Rakib Hussain levelled the margin for Boshundhara in the 52nd minute of the match. In the 86th minute, Dorielton Gomez scored the winning goal for Boshuntara Kings. On now to the headlines again before we end this bulletin. Bangladesh Bridges Authority repays 315 crore taka more as fifth and sixth installments of Podda Bridge loan. President Mohammad Shahabuddin calls on all concerned, including judges, to make constant efforts to ensure justice for litigants speedily. Symbols allocated among candidates of 12 national elections, triggering election campaign formally, which will continue till 8 a.m. on January the 5th. Those who remain silent about arson violence but vocal on polls are agents of BNP and implementing its political agenda, says Obaidul Qadir. Dr. Hassan Mahmood starts election campaigning by crossing Kornofuli River on dinghy boat and riding bicycle. Bangladesh observes a one-day state mourning over death of Kuwait's Emir Sheikh Nawaf al-Ahmed al-Jaber al-Sabah. More than 200 Palestinians killed in Israeli strikes on Gaza Strip as talks for ceasefire continues. And Boshuntara Kings secure Independence Cup title with a 2-1 win over Mohammedan Sporting Club. That's all from the newsroom for now. Thank you for being with us.